So she lived in Colonial Forest, and at this time, Mexico was having a Revolutionary War.
You can't go around the tea set, remember, they're very special.
And many colonists had to leave because they felt very threatened by Pancho Villa. And a lot of people were burying their personal treasures so that when they came back, they would still be able to find them. And there are still a lot of treasures buried in Colonial Forest that people will never find because burying things is not a good way to keep them. So Grandma Teresa wanted to bury her tea set so that it would be here when she came back for it. And her mother told her not to. Told her instead to leave it on the table. So she did. She left her tea set on the table.
But she really didn't want to.
She didn't. She did not want to leave this behind. It was her pride and joy. But she was obedient, and she did. She left it on the table. Well, her brother came back to check.
Her oldest brother.
Her oldest brother came back to see, just to take care of animals and things, and saw the tea set there. And at this point, great grandma and her parents were in El Paso, and they didn't ever go back until grandma was much older.
So my mom was the girl.
So she never went back to live. But her brother saw this tea set on the table and very, very carefully wrapped
He knew how much his little sister, she was the smallest one of his sisters.
And knew how much she loved it, so he took care of this and very carefully wrapped it up and put it in his saddlebags and rode. You know how long that trip to El Paso is and how bad those roads are, right? He did that ride on horseback with this tea set in his saddlebags. So this, I mean, look at that. It's pretty good conditions for going over that road anyway, but going over that road in a horse, on a horse. So, some of these actually have, let me find it, one of these. No, there's one of these right here. December 25th, 1911. That's when she got it. But when your grandma was born, great grandma Lamoreaux wanted to make sure that she's the one that got her tea set. So this is scale.
Grandma Teresa put that on it for you.
And then I came along and had her name, so I win.
Every one of her grandchildren knew about that tea set and knew whose it was. All of their lives growing up, they knew it was grandma's.
So this is the tea set. This is a big part of your guys' history.
Grandma Lamoreaux used to, every spring, her friends would come over and they would go to the ditch and they would pick watercress, which is kind of a little weed.
Little
It's
grass.
the first thing that would turn green in the spring, and they would take that, put those little leaves on some homemade bread and homemade butter and eat it, and that was their tea party. So she had her friends have tea parties with this. And they would drink water and eat watercress sandwiches.
About Alyssa's age.
Yeah. Yeah.
Having their tea parties. And I remember seeing this at Grandma Lamoreaux's house and thinking, oh my goodness, I want to have a tea party with that. And she always said no. And I asked every time. She said no every time. And then Grandma was telling me about another tea set that belonged to Grandma DeWitt that Grandma Lamoreaux had too. It's pretty cool.
Yes, it was, had windmills on it, and it belonged to my mom, Grandma DeWitt.
I remember those.
Yes, and I found out a couple of days ago that Aunt Diane, I always knew that she was the one that was supposed to get them. She did get them, and she still has them, and she keeps.
She
takes
pulled
care
them
of
out and showed them to us.